One was quite certain that for a long part of his being living, he had been trying to be certain that he was wrong in doing what he was doing. And then when he could not come to be certain that he had been wrong in doing what he had been doing, when he had completely convinced himself that he would not come to be certain that he had been wrong in doing what he had been doing, he was really certain then that he was a great one, and he certainly was a great one. Certainly everyone could be certain of this thing, that this one is a great one.
Plays are either read or heard or seen. And then comes the question, which comes first
and which is first? Reading, hearing, or seeing a play?
One was quite certain that for a long part of his being living, he had been trying to be certain that he was wrong in doing what he was doing, and then when he could not come to be certain that he had been wrong in doing what he had been doing, when he had completely convinced himself that he would not come to be certain that he had been wrong in doing what he had been doing, he was really certain then that he was a great one, and he certainly was a great one. Certainly everyone could be certain of this thing, that this one is a great one. Plays are either read or heard or seen. And there then comes the question, which comes first and which is first? Reading or hearing or seeing a play?
One was quite certain that for a long part of his being living, he had been trying to be certain that he was wrong in doing what he was doing.
And then, when he could not come to be certain that he had been wrong in doing what he had been doing, when he had completely convinced himself that he would not come to be certain that he had been wrong in doing what he had been doing, he was really certain then that he was a great one.
And he really was a great one. Certainly everyone could be certain of this thing, that this one is a great one. Plays are either read or heard or seen. And then comes the question.
Which comes first and which is first? Reading, hearing, or seeing a play?
I ask you.
Colhard did not say he did not do it, but he did not do it. He did it, and then he did not do it. He did not ever think about it. He just thought sometime he might do something. His father, Mr. Abram Colhard, spoke about it to everyone, and very many of them spoke to Barnes Colhard about it, and he always listened to them. Then Barnes fell in love with a very nice girl, and she would not marry him. He cried then. His father comforted him, and they took a trip, and Barnes promised he would do what his father wanted him to be doing. He did not do the thing. He thought he would do another thing. He did not do the other thing. His father, Mr. Colhard, did not want him to do the other thing. He really did not do anything then. When he was a good deal older, he married a very rich girl. He had thought perhaps he would not propose to her, but his sister wrote to him that it would be a good thing. He married the rich girl, and she thought he was the most wonderful man, and one who knew everything. Barnes never spent more than the income of the fortune he and his wife had then. That is to say, they did not spend more than the income, and this was a surprise to the very many who knew about him and about his marrying the girl who had such a large fortune. He had a happy life while he was living, and after he was dead, his wife and children remembered him. He had a sister who also was successful enough in being living. His sister was one who came to be happier than most people come to be in living. She came to be a completely happy one. She was twice as old as her brother. She had been a very good daughter to her mother. She and her mother had always told very pretty stories to each other. Many old men loved to hear her tell these stories to her mother. Everyone who ever knew her mother liked her mother. Many were sorry later that not everyone liked the daughter. Many did like the daughter, but not everyone as everyone had liked the mother. The daughter was charming inside in her, did not show outside in her to everyone. It certainly did to some. She did sometimes think her mother would be pleased with a story that did not please her mother. When her mother later was sicker, the daughter knew there were certain stories she could tell her that would not please her mother. The mother died, and really mostly altogether, the mother and daughter had told each other stories very happily together. The daughter then kept house for her father and took care of her brother. There were many relations who lived with them.
A-list.
A-list.
A list. A list. A whole egg and stout muds, a vest sand, a lime eater, a cold saw, a kind of stammer, a little shade, a new opera glass, a colored mule, a best winter, a spoon, a window, a wetness, a jelly, and a fruit season, and a ripe pear, and a point in pudding.
Pudding, 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 pudding.
In a pudding.
Pudding, 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 pudding.
In being a pudding.
Pudding, 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 pudding.
And sometime, any time in being a pudding.
Pudding, 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 pudding.
And necessary, and reasonable, and mostly judicious, and particularly flattering, and seasoned, really seasoned, and almost always too bad.
16. If 16 carry 4, 4 more. If 5 more, carry 4 for more. If 4 more, carry 4. If 4 carry 50 more. If 4 more, 504. And for more than that, and 4 more than 84. 4 more can carry 16! If you please, if it is acceptable.
Cunning next. Cunning is to be too easy to be funny. Cunning enough and a whole extra change is not necessary, and all the time, and particular. And anyway, is there a road? Is there a whole way to have a belly, and a bicycle, and measles, and oats and ranges, and little whistles? And balloons, and old things, and necessary, and a pleasant day to stay, and bicycles, and old stretches, and cold stuff, and bodies,
and little cheeses and meatballs and sandwiches and closets and collected oils and balls and sweetbreads and toads and colored choice sticks and little steady mirrors and little puddings and almost any pies and between handies and mittens and clouds and old things and butter and a soiled omelette and pieces of oatmeal and a stage.
Can there be any difference in any way?
Can there be necessary?
A bouncing release from a whole water country and more than that makes a bedroom. It does that. It shines by daylight. It makes all that can steal. It does show. It has moons, it has more. It had mind and molasses.
And everything in a thing. It is so hold. A little be seen by a dent. Any dent is a pastime, and a coach a coach. Why? When there's wood and old iron and little things and readily, quite readily. A best stand is minus, and it just is more.
She knows quite well that if 5 are sitting at a table and one of them is leaning upon it, that it does not make any difference.
Nearly all of it has made nearly all of it. Nearly all of it has made nearly all of it.
Nearly all of it has made nearly all of it, has made nearly all of it, has made nearly all of it.
Nearly all of it has made nearly all of it.
Plenty of times the pansy is a bird as well as a flower, rice is a bird as well as a plant, the cuckoo is a flower as well as a bird.
A single instance of able to pay any day. And as you say, we exchange pictures for pictures and ribbons for ribbons successfully, is spelled in this way.
They saved it. Why did they save it? They saved it as wire. In this way, did you hear me say, did they save it in this way? Did they save it, and will they use it in this way?
Did you hear me say cloudlessly?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe I do, but I doubt it.
I do, but I do doubt it. Maybe I do, but I doubt it.
I do, but I do doubt it.
Please to please,
Pleasure to give pleasure.
to please and to give pleasure, to please and
To give pleasure and to give pleasure.
to please and to give pleasure, if you please and if you please,
And if you give pleasure,
if you give pleasure, and if you please, please, please,
and pleasure.
An interlude.
Can tickle, can tickle. Why can tickle her?
Ouch!
Can tickle, he can tickle her.
Ouch!
Can tickle, he can tickle her.
Ouch!
Can tickle, he can make her purr.
Where?
Where?
Over there. I do love her hair.
Where?
Where?
Over here I do make a pair.
What? What?
I forgot.
I do not forget my dot.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 1, 2. Holy, holy gee.
What?
What?
I forgot.
What? What?
What? What?
A succession of addresses.
I am pleased. I am indeed very pleased that it is a great pleasure.
If 4 are sitting at a table, and one of them is lying upon it, it does not make any difference. If bread and pomegranates are on the table, and 4 are sitting at the table, and one of them is sitting upon it, it does not make any difference.
It does not make any difference if 4 are sitting at a table and one of them is lying upon it.
If 5 are seated at a table, and there is bread on it, and there are pomegranates on it, and one of the 5 is leaning on the table, It does not make any difference.
If on a day that comes again, and if by meaning a day we mean a weekday, it does come again. If on a day that comes again, and we mean every day to be a day that comes again, it comes again then, when accidentally, when very accidentally, every other day and every other day, every other day and every other day that comes again, a day comes again, when accidentally every other day comes again, and a day comes again, and accidentally and every other, a day comes again, a day in this way comes again.
Accidentally in the morning, and after that every evening, and accidentally every evening, and after that every morning, and after that accidentally, and after that every morning. After that accidentally. Accidentally after that. Accidentally after that accidentally.
More Marias and more Martha.
More Marias and more Martha.
More Martha and more Marias.
More Martha and more Marias. More and more and more.
Martha and more Marias.
It is spoken of in that way.
It is spoken of in that way.
It is spoken in that way, and it is spoken of in that way.
It is spoken of in that way.
I speak of it in that way.
I have spoken of it in that way, and I speak it in that way. I have spoken of it in that way, I speak it in that way.
Feel me.
Oh, oh, oh!
I feel so very well now.
Do you feel so very well now?
I feel so very well now, and I feel that I will feel for you. I feel so very well.
All for Hannah.
Hannah is not welcome.
All for Henry.
Henry smiles, and when he smiles, he feels the need of a recital.
Can you recite with a song?
I sing.
You sing.
We sing.
La 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 la. And now mention me.
I mention you to him and to her.
I mention her.
I mention him. I mention him. I do mention.
How frequently, we wonder, how often does Jessie
How often does Jessie
employ those whom she can mention?
She can mention to me when this, you see, you are all to me.
Coming. Coming. Coming.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming.
Yes, I'm
I'm
coming.
coming.
Yes, I'm coming. Yes, I'm coming. Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming.
I'm coming.
He called me by my name.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming.
I make a new name, and yet every name is the same. It has always been the name.
It is said that the name is the same name.
Are you coming?
Hope is coming. Henry Hope is coming. Henry Hope is married, and Henry Hope is married, and he is coming. Henry Hope mentioned me to him.
Do please, please, please me.
I have often thought of swimming in water.
Spelled in this way.
Spelled in that way.
Spelled in this way, and spelled in that way, and spoken of in this way, and spoken of in that way, and spoken in this way.
In this way, if in a family where some member is devoutly religious, another member of the family is ill, other members are not at home, and other members have been killed in war, a ball is given. For whose benefit is the ball given? For the benefit of 3 young ladies who have not as of yet left their home. It was unexpected, but intended. It was intended and expected. It was intended.
It was intended. In a reasonable degree and not unreasonably. She valued it as she was intended to value it, as she was expected to value it, as she expected to value, as she intended to value. She did intend to remain. Remember, she did intend to remain. She did intend to remain.
Not too merrily for me.
She has 33 thirds, safely. In this way she has a standard. She keeps to it, and although she may be, although she may be, although she will be changed, she will change.
Not too long.
Not too long.
Too long and too long, too long. Able to long, able to be. To be safely, able to be safely. To be safely, to be seen, able to long to be safely. To safely be here and there, to be there. Able to be there. To long. Who is longing now?
How are you?
How are you?
How are you?
I really ought not to bake apples and seed raisins and have fowls and be bewildered. Really ought to smile. I can remember how astonishing it was to be so actively sweet. I promised to see a lemon orchard. I remember it very well. We put them all into cigar boxes. We have no way of being surprised. Dictionaries were not a surprise.
How are you?
And how you do?
How are you?
I don't believe there was any water. If there had been, why didn't we go swimming together? I don't believe either that there was any sun. Grass had that way about it. And afterwards, when the wind blew, I knew I was a protection. What was I protecting? I was protecting icing. In what way was there icing? There was icing because there was indivisible union. I don't want any remarks. I have a selfish way of saying, tell me how I love you.
As a change from this. In a way to change, in that way to change this.
In this way?
To change in this way.
Every day has a connection by the by, and every day has a connection between when she went and when she was separately sent. Every day has a connection between 6 and 7 in the morning. And the disturbance is of certainly causing, and the disturbance of certainly calling, and the disturbance of certainly returning. And the disturbance of certainly telling that no address was given. That is a strange story of the address that was found and turned out to be given by her, and it was her habit to give her address. Written down to be written down. We do not color her for that. This does not color her. This does not make lilacs white. They mostly are when they are made in winter.
Made in winter. When they are made in winter.
This is not an instance of being polite and perfect.
This is not an instance of being polite and perfect.
80 and 80 pages.
8 and 8 pages.
8 pages and 80 pages.
An instance and for instance, did she leave her key? And for instance, were we pleased to see? That she came to be carefully pleased to he. That she came to be carefully, that she came to be careful. The daughter did not like them to live with them, and she did not like them to die with them. The daughter, Ada, they had called her after her grandmother, who had delightful ways of smelling flowers and eating dates and sugar. Did not like it at all then, and she did not like so much dying, and she did not like any of the living she was doing then. Every now and then some old gentleman told delightful stories to her. Mostly then there were not nice stories told by anyone then in her living. She told her father, Mr. Abram Kolar, that she did not like it at all being living then. He never said anything. She was afraid then. She was one needing charming stories and happy telling of them, and not having that thing she was always trembling. Then everyone who could live with them were dead, and there were then the father and the son, a young man, and the daughter coming to be that one of them. Her grandfather had left some money to them, each one of them. Ada said she was going to use it to go away from them. The father said nothing then. Then he said something and she said nothing then. Then they both said nothing, and then it was that she went away from them.
Contents and intent. I intend to be careful of ashes. Tuesdays,
kneeling and prizes. I intend to be careful of kneeling, Tuesdays, ashes, and prizes.
We have allowed for it.
You do prepare it for me.
We do.
We will.
And not forever.
How do you spell Marius? How do you spell Mabel?
We spell them both correctly.
We spell them both correctly.
Recently, there was a change in furniture. The leading difficulty had always been that in sitting. There was no recognition of clarification. Of sliding. This did not seem an instance of the era of good feeling. I want to know how often it had been necessary to copy all the special ways of sitting. I want to know how obliging everyone is. This has nothing to do with us.
What was crossing?
The boat?
Where was it going?
It wasn't going, it was coming.
When did it come?
It came on time.
When it came, there did not happen to be there anyone to meet it. It made meeting exciting.
Exciting to who?
Exciting to those ones being exciting. I was naughty.
To whom?
I was there.
When?
When I was there. I was there all the time. When was I there? I was there when I was there. I was there all the time. When was I there? I was there all the time. I was there all the time. I was born at 8 o'clock. This morning when I woke up, I made that mistake. It was 8 o'clock.
Were you pleased?
I was.
When they did not see me, I saw them again. I did not like it.
I count her dresses again.
Can you draw a dress?
In a minute.
Believe in your mistake.
Act quickly.
Do not mind the tooth.
Do not be careless.
I am careful.
Yes, you are.
And obedient.
Yes, you are.
And industrious.
Certainly.
Come to sing and sit.
Repeat it.
I repeat it. Come to sing and sit.
Repeat it.
I repeat it. Come to sing and sit.
Repeat it.
I know what I want to say. How do you do? I forgive you everything, and there is nothing to forgive.
The dog!
The dog!
I'm tired of blue.
Shall I wear my blue dress?
Do.
Collecting her dresses.
Shall you be annoyed?
Not at all.
Can you be thankful
For what?
for me?
I do not like this table.
rejection and the perfect sensual table, the sorrow in borrowing and the hurry and a nervous feeling, and many, many, many more.
Scampi, Pinot, Oriale. Place scampi, Dublin Bay prawns, langoustine, or giant shrimps on a mound of rice which has been washed in 14 waters. Cook scampi in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Cook rice in cold water, bring to the boil, add cold water. Place in oven to dry. To serve, add shellfish. Serve with a sauce made of tomatoes, 5 big onions, 12 cloves of garlic, and saffron to taste. And whipped cream.
Oh.
It is not tiring to count dresses
In exchange for a table.
in exchange for or on a table.
The meaning of windows is air.
And a door.
A door should be closed.
Can you manage it?
You mean dresses?
Do I mean dresses?
I mean 1, do, 2, do, 3, do.
Can you spell quickly?
I can spell very quickly.
So can my sister-in-law.
Can she?
Have you any way of sitting?
You mean comfortably?
Naturally.
I understand you.
Are you afraid?
I'm not any more afraid of water than they are.
Do not be insolent. We need clothes.
Can you laugh at me and say, married?
Yes. Oh, yes.
You are stimulated and amused.
We are.
We are.
So do we.
Was she angry?
Whom do you mean, was she angry?
Was she angry with you?
It is true. Certainly it is true. And a coat. Any coat. Any dress, all dress, a hat, many hats, many colors, many colors. Every kind of coloring makes shadows longer and birds. Makes birds, just makes birds. Not much limping is in the back. Not much limping is in the front. Not much limping is circular. A bosom, a candle, an elegant footfall. All this makes daylight.
Reflect more.
I do want a garden.
Do you?
And clothes.
I do not mention clothes.
No, you didn't. But I do.
Yes, I know that.
Then you do not misunderstand me.
I misunderstand no one.
Can you explain my wishes?
In the morning,
To me.
Yes, in there.
Then you do not explain.
I do not press for an answer.
Exercise me, I say. I say exercise me. Exercise me, I say. You may exercise with me today. We saw a dress.
We saw a man.
Sarcasm.
Bum-ba-dum, bum-bum-ba-dum, ba-dum. Why do we stamp? Bum-ba-dum, bum-bum-ba-dum, ba-dum. Don't walk too hard. Bum-ba-dum, bum-bum-ba-dum, ba-dum. Walk gently and continuously and persistently, but don't walk too hard. A compliment. I am a compliment to you. You compliment me. I arrange to compliment you. So next to nothing. Why? Do flashes of older women compliment him and them? Why do flashes of older women? How can he hear the same name? Dolly. I stretch to Dolly. Nellie, I dare to tell her. Nellie is your name. Nellie, a million, or three, or three, or four, and you. You love the remainder of their door, Nellie. Why do you wish me there, Nellie? Why do you wish for me, Nellie? Why do you wish for me there, Nellie? Why do you wish me there, Nellie? How realizable are apples and butter? She says apples and potatoes. And we say apples and butter and rapidly diminishing, who diminishes rapidly. The sound. How does it sound? How do you sound? How do you season? How do you read the reason? How do you? How do you? How very nearly do you? How do you very nearly breathe? Shout to a man.
Ha, 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 ha.
Men, shout to a man.
Ha, 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 ha.
I shout. I shall keep him from fur. I shall keep her away from him. I shall not let him. I shall not let her. I shall not let him. I shall not let her use fur. Fur and splendidly willing. Come to the window. And sing there. Oh, 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 oh. Everywhere.
Ha, 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 ha.
Have you my knife? He is very sweet. To see that he has money readily and accidentally witness. He can accidentally witness what he can mean. I mean, and you mean. Remember, I know what I want, and I know how to get it. Also, remember finishing touches. Also, remember me to Emily.
Can you speak English?
In London.
And here?
With me?
To be here or not to be?
To be or not to be?
Count her dresses.
Collect her dresses.
Clean her dresses.
Have the system.
Count her dresses again.
When can you come?
When can you come?
A list may be taken care of.
List A.
If a list is taken care of by 5. If 5 are sitting at a table. If 4 are seated at a table.
And one is leaning upon it. It does not make any difference.
If 5 are sitting at a table and one of them is leaning upon it, it does not make any difference.
And if there are 4 seated at a table and one is leaning upon it, it does not make any difference.
An instance of this is when we've all meant to be well dressed. An instance of this is when we've all meant to be well dressed.
Dress well. To be well dressed. To be well dressed.
I know. I masterpieces of it.
We know how exercise.
In masterpieces.
We know how.
Now.
A sector is a piece cut out.
A fragment is a piece broken off, and an article is all of one piece.
Stems and pleasantness.
I see how creditably and when they stand.
And she stands.
how creditably they prepare.
And she prepares,
And there are there.
as there are.
Exercise me, I say. I say exercise me. Exercise me, I say. You may exercise with me today. Exercise me, I say. And I say exercise with me. And I exercise with her today. I say exercise with me. I say exercise with me.
I master pieces of it. Exercise in mastering pieces of it. Exercise in masterpieces. Exercise in her mastering her pieces. I am exercising. I am exercised. I am exercised in mastering pieces. I am exercised in masterpieces.
And how creditably, if they care.
Very creditably, as who can share their thanks for that? Yes, that is it. And we are not excited.
We are not excited.
Not excited.
No, no.
No, no.
No, no.
A surprise.
A birthday?
A birthday.
A birthday is...
Oh! Alice B. Tokless hash brownies, which anyone could whip up on a rainy day.
The food of paradise.
This is the food of paradise, of Baudelaire's Paradis Artificiel. It might provide an entertaining refreshment for a ladies' bridge club or a chapter meeting of the DAR. In Morocco, it is thought to be good for warding off the common cold in damp winter weather, and is indeed more effective if taken with large quantities of hot mint tea. Euphoria and brilliant storms of laughter. Ecstatic reveries and extensions of one's personality on several simultaneous planes are to be complacently expected.
Almost anything St. Teresa did, you can do better if you can bear to be ravished by un évanouissement réveillé.
Take 1 teaspoon black peppercorn.
1 whole nutmeg.
4 average sticks of cinnamon.
1 teaspoon coriander.
This should all be pulverized in a mortar.
About a handful each of stoned dates.
Dry fish.
Shelled almonds and peanuts.
Chop these and mix them all together. Choo-choo ha, 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 choo-choo ha.
A bunch of cannabis sativa can be pulverized.
This should be dusted over the mixed fruit and nuts, kneaded together.
About a cup of sugar dissolved in a big pat of butter, rolled into a cake, and cut into pieces, or made into balls about the size of a walnut.
This should be eaten with care.
2 pieces are quite sufficient.
A cut. A cut is not a slice. What is the occasion for representing a cut and a slice? What is the occasion for all that?
A cut is a slice. A cut is the same slice. The reason a cut is a slice is that if there is no hurry, any time at all will do.
A cut and a slice. Is there any question when a cut and a slice are just the same?
A cut and a slice has no particular exchange. It has such a strange exception to all that is different. A cut and a slice has no particular exchange. It has such a strange exception to all that is different. A cut and only slice. Only a cut and only a slice. The remains of a taste may remain, and tasting is accurate. A cut and an occasion, a slice and a substitute, a single hurry and a circumstance that shows that all this is so reasonable when everything is clear.
All alone with the best reception. All alone with more than the best reception. All alone with a paragraph. And something that is worth something, worth almost anything, worth the best example there is of a little occasional archbishop. This which is so clean is precious little when there is no bath water, a very long time, there's no use for an obstacle that is original and has a source.
If you can only tell him so.
If they do, and plenty of them would.
If we do, and might it be predicted by me? Helen Furr had quite a pleasant home. Mrs. Furr was quite a pleasant woman. Mr. Furr was quite a pleasant man. Helen Furr had quite a pleasant voice, a voice quite worth cultivating. She did not mind working. She worked to cultivate her voice. She did not find it gay living in the same place where she'd always been living. She went to a place where some were cultivating something, voices and other things needing cultivating. She met Georgine Skeen there, who was cultivating her voice, which many thought to be quite a pleasant one.
Georgine Skeen and Helen Furr lived together then. Georgine Skeen liked traveling. Helen Furr did not care about traveling. She liked to stay in one place and be gay there. They were together then, and they traveled to another place, and they stayed there and were gay there. They stayed there and were gay there. Not very gay there, just gay there. They were both gay there. They were both regularly working there, both of them cultivating their voices there. They were both gay there. Georgine Skeen was gay there, and she was regular. Regular in being gay, regular in not being gay. Regular in being a gay one who was not being gay longer than was needed to be one, being quite a gay one. They were both gay then there, and both working there then. They were both gay there, where there were many cultivating something. Helen Furr was gay there. They were both gay there. Helen Furr was gayer and gayer there, and really she was just gay there. She was gayer and gayer there, and that is to say that she found ways in being gay there that she was using in being gay there. She wasn't gayer and gayer there, she was just gayer there. Not gayer and gayer, and that is to say that she was not gayer there by using the things there that she found to be gay things. She was just gay there. Always she was gay there.
Extravagantly, very extravagantly.
We translate this into that.
And Mary is so gracious.
And merry. A second list makes one day. A second list makes someday. A second list makes Monday. A second list makes Sunday. A second list makes more than one day. A second list makes one day and makes one day.
We've never kissed. We have never kissed. Kiss my lips.
She did kiss my lips again, she did. She did kiss my lips over and over again, she did.
A second list.
A second list makes a second list. A second list does make a second list.
If you do, be prepared to carry olives away from olive trees and rain away from rain. And you are necessarily, in that case, pleased with me. Are you in earnest when you tell me there are plenty of pleasures left?
101 make a second list, as naturally as 100 finishes one. Probably the first one.
We could be married.
One authority. No monotony is necessary, since I do visit, you do visit, yes, I wisely do visit, where my visits are appreciated.
Is wisdom perfect?
Pila Stella Maris de Portofino.
See.
Cut up one small octopus, remove bone from interior, dip particles in honey, roll in paprika, then plunge in batter mixed with garlic. Boil in olive oil. Serve with rice and a sauce with tomatoes over it, white wine, green peppers, and finely diced mushrooms.
Champignon!
A Sunday is.
Marked as a Sunday.
In this way, perfectly.
In this way, not so carefully.
In this way they are.
Allowed to retaliate.
Third list.
Texas.
Mary.
Texas Berry!
Woo-hoo! To meet me here.
To meet me here.
To meet me here.
If a feather meant a feather, and if a feather meant a feather, we would gather together, and it would not matter. What would not matter? My dear, it would not matter.
If there are four seated at a table and one of them is leaning upon it, it does not make any difference.
Fourth list.
If I am displeased,
Wherein Iowa differs from Kansas and Indiana.
Otherwise seen, and otherwise see, and otherwise seen to see. Otherwise seen. The difference to be seen, the difference in otherwise seen, the difference in otherwise seen, the difference seen otherwise. In Iowa, in there, in Iowa and in there and in Iowa. It is noticeable the difference in there, the difference in Iowa and in there. Iowa means much. Much, much, much. Much, much, much. For so much, Iowa means much. Indiana means more. More, more, more. Indiana means more as more. Kansas means most and most and most and most. Kansas means most merely. This is the difference between those three. Samples. Have examples. Add examples. Added examples. Everyone has heard it said. In Iowa and in Iowa. No one had heard it said in Iowa. In Indiana and in Indiana. They had heard it said in Indiana. In Iowa and heard it said in Iowa. In Indiana and heard it said. In Kansas and in Kansas. How it was heard, how it was said, how it was heard and said, and how was it heard as said. And in Iowa held it. And in Kansas held it to hold it. Hold it to hold it. In Iowa held it. In Kansas hold it. In Indiana to hold it. Do you see what I mean? As a question. A question is made to state something that has not been replied to there. Is Iowa up? Or down? Is Indiana down, and why? Is Kansas up and down, and where is it? There are questions only because no one thinks of three things at one time. Grammar.
G-R-A-M-A-I-R-E.
Grammar was a festival. So was spelling, so was permission, so was it all. I have started permission. Please be neat. Please be complete. Please guess fingers. Which is it? The fourth. Which is it now? The first. Which is it now? The third. Which is it now? The little one.
Now you guess. Which is it now? The third? No, the fourth. Which is it now? The second? No, the fourth. Which is it now? The third? No, the fourth. Which is it now? The fourth? No, the third. Which is it now?
I don't want to guess anymore.
Sugar. I want sugar.
This is the way a play fades away.
Mary may, no, I may say may marry. So that season is anonymous,
And indeed as easily as they own land in town and country.
A last list.
Choose to choose. You cannot expect me to choose you.
Carrots and artichokes, marguerites and roses. If you can repeat it and somebody chose it, somebody shows it, and somebody knows it. If you can repeat and somebody knows it.
A rose is a rose is a rose.
half of the marriages. Valentines and half of the marriages. I did the Valentines and half of the marriages.
A little girl is very nearly the same size as she was. She was very nearly the same price. And we may say, excited.
And married.
We may marry.
In the evening.
Naturally.
We have decided.
Indeed. Kiss my lips, if you wish. Kiss my lips over and over and over again.
Father was quite tender then. She was his daughter then. He wrote her tender letters then. She wrote him tender letters then. She never went back to live with him. He wanted her to come and she wrote him tender letters then. He liked the tender letters she wrote to him. He wanted her to live with him. She answered by writing tender letters and telling very nice stories indeed in them. He wrote nothing. And then he wrote again. And there was some waiting. And then he wrote tender letters again and again. She came to be happier than anybody else who was living then. It is easy to believe this thing. She was telling someone who was loving every story that was charming. Someone who was living was almost always listening. Someone who was loving was almost always listening. That one who was loving was almost always listening. That one who was loving was telling about being one and listening. That one being loving was telling stories having a beginning and a middle and an ending. That one was then one, always, completely, listening. Ada was then one, and all her living then one, completely telling stories that were charming, completely listening to stories having a beginning, and a middle, and an ending. Trembling was all living was all loving, someone was then the other one. Certainly this one was loving this Ada then, and certainly Ada, all her living then, was happier in living than anyone else who ever could, who was, who is, who ever will be, living.
I made a discovery which I considered fundamental, that sentences are not emotional and that paragraphs are. I found out about language that paragraphs are emotional and sentences are not, and I found out something else about it. I found out that this difference was not a contradiction, but a combination, and that this combination causes one to think endlessly about sentences and paragraphs, because the emotional paragraphs are made up of unemotional sentences. I found out a fundamental thing about plays. The thing I found out about plays was too a combination and not a contradiction, and it was something that makes one think endlessly about plays.